Hi, intrepid viewers. Welcome. Can you believe it's May? I don't know how that happened, but here we are. And so I'm going to do the May forecast for the US. So let's just dive in. So while I'm shuffling, did you say Kevin McCarthy wants to invite Netanyahu to the US? He's the opposition speaker. It's not his role. It's not his job. What? You know, I'd like to meet Justin Trudeau, have him over to my house. Justin, hello, come on down. It's just ridiculous. They just don't play by the rules for a nanosecond, do they? It's just. So let's just dive in here to week one, because I think it's going to be a big month. Oh, let's have a look. Here we are. Would be interesting. Oh, my goodness, we're off to a flying start. Goodness gracious me. Okay. Wheel of Fortune. It's time for a big change here. Um, let's hope that's a positive change for democratic fortunes. But in any event, the thing with the Wheel of Fortune, there are some things that go up and some things that go down. Okay. But in the corners are the celestial power animals. So this is a time of fate. Okay, America has had to come to this point in history. Modern America is a very young country, a bit like white Australia. It's a teenager. And so inevitably, things are going to happen. So the challenge is the Knight of Wands. And this is bearing a message of justice, liberty, social conscience, and positivity, in stark contrast with the overall energy for the first week of May. I think this is the debt ceiling stuff, right? Because although every time there's a debt ceiling issue, there's argy-bargy, it's always a given that in the end, you'll sign off on it because it's money that's already been allocated. Okay, yeah. So I think this is hanging over. And you have people speaking out because the cuts, GOP loves spending cuts because they only affect the poor. And so you have this concept that if you were only smart enough and hard enough working, you'd be rich and it wouldn't worry you. Okay. So let's just slash the poor, including veterans. So this is the voices, I think, speaking out against that. I hope there's enough of a realization out there that spending cuts affect the most vulnerable in every community. So in the past, deal makers, deal breakers coming to an agreement, I think this is again referring to this, right? The debt ceiling. And allegiances have been made for the better of the country. Okay. Past tense. Okay. Leading into week two, this is the bridging card. Where to from here? What is going to happen here? Now, I'm reading on the US, but it could also refer to broader things like Russia and Ukraine and other things. But the Two of Swords, the country has to decide what path to be on. You know? So week one, I think there's going to be tension around the debt ceiling. I mean, that's probably going to be an undercurrent for all the other weeks, given that Janet Yellen has put a June deadline for an agreement. So I'm not surprised if it turns up. Now, while I'm shuffling for week 2, talking about the Supreme Court, or the not so Supreme Court, there's now talk about what's her name? Justice Roberts' wife. He's the one leading the Supreme Court. His wife has got, investigative journalists have found, at least 10 million in kickbacks for making legal placements. That's what she does. She's a headhunter for legal firms. So her little fingers are across all that. Now, I remember doing a reading on this a year and a half ago. If a tarot reader from Australia knew about it, how come it's taken this long? That's another question, isn't it? What is going on with the Supreme Court? Can they clean up their own act or not? But I digress. Okay, week 2 then. Week 2. Week 2, May. Oh, it's going to be a small victory for the Dems, or maybe a big victory. I'm just used to small ones. Okay, the center of week 2 is what has been hidden until now, right? What is being revealed in week 2? And it's the High Priestess. She's important, so it's important revelations. Oh, this could be in relation to Jack Smith. I'm getting a strong Jack Smith vibe on that card and his revelations. I think he's found the gold. He had 5 hours of testimony from pence to play with now and other things, which means top of the food chain. I'm liking that a lot. Biden's turned up. So in week 2, bless him. So he's there with his hand on the tiller, keeping people calm in the face of yet another attack on everything. But I'm getting a bit of an extra thing going on here. He's beginning to scheme a bit more, which I'm not unhappy about. He's beginning to sort of think about how to attack the opponents coming on here. There's an evaluation or a soul searching of the nation in week 2. And as I said, something to celebrate. There have been a few things to celebrate. Where was it this week? I think it was South Carolina, where 5 women crossed party lines and 3 men to block an abortion ban. That's not insignificant. But 3 of Cups, it could be something else that doesn't. It's not so much something is going to happen that's wonderful. That'd be great. Love that. It's now everyone's forced to celebrate hideous things that don't happen. It's like being reduced to that, you know. So either way, there's cause for celebration at the end of week 2. It doesn't mean there aren't going to be all these turgid, awful things happening in week 2. Yes, there is, but there's a bit of a light there. I'm pleased about that. Okay, let me put these back. Okay. And I'll just finish with a bit of weather and a bit of financial after week 4 too. Okay, so week 3 now in May. What's the vibe week 3? Yeah, with that High Priestess, it could be something to do with the eclipses. They often reveal things. Okay, week 3 in May, please. Week 3 in May. Oh, week 3 is going to be difficult, even traumatic. Sorry. It starts with a bit of heartache here and ends with the Nine of Swords. I don't even want to say the word, but it could be another mass, you know what. I'm not happy with these cards for week 3. However, it will bring people together. This is the bonding of those who are not similar. So that's an interesting thing to keep in mind. There's going to be legal revelations week 3, and they're going to be expanded upon with this Empress card in week 3. Oh, Jack Smith. Okay, so this is a big deal. This could be a female judge. I don't know how long E.J. Carroll's civil case will be. It could be a development there. Definitely something around the Yeti there being expanded here. And as I said, the Nine of Swords. So America's having major issues, I think, coming up, reinventing its new identity in the modern world. And these things have to happen in order for something new to grow and flourish. It was limping on, you know, until the Yeti came in, and he has accelerated that process. There's no doubt, you know. DeSantis is struggling now. This is interesting. Okay, so let's see, week 4. Week 4 of May. Week 4 of May. What will we see near the end of week 4 of May? Come up again. What is that again? A bit more emphasis on money in this. Remember, we just had this card before as the last card for week 3. It's the bridge to week 4, and it's turned up in the past position for week 4. Do you see what I mean? So it's still hanging around, but like everything, it can't stay on the front page for more than 5 minutes. It's got to move over for the next atrocity by these belligerent wolverines from the GOP. So week 4 starts with this nostalgia. It's very emotional, over-emotional nostalgia. You know, it's so hard to identify what the exact issue might be on this. Give me a moment. I'm just going to pull a clarifier on that because it's a bit vague for me. Then we'll get to the money. Week 4 in May. Week 4 in May. This is something to do with arts and science. How weird is that? So it could be, it's like a retrospective moment in week 4 of looking how far the nation has fallen from being a first world country to not respecting the arts, the gay community, the LGBTQI plus community, the banning of books, science itself. It's like there's when any country's under pressure, those are the things that flourish the arts, and the arts need to step up, right? And particularly musicians. And as someone who's had to listen to 10,000 or probably 30,000 hours of rap as my kids were growing up, where are the radical rap voices saying something? saying something meaningful. After the Tennessee guys, I was thinking there's going to be a flourish of radical rap. Where is it? Well, it might come out at the end of May. Now, the Four of Pentacles. I think this could be a 5 minutes to midnight debt ceiling thing. There'll be some wins for both parties. This is the card of compromise, holding the money in. You know, put these cards together. I'm hoping some sort of last minute deal. That's no guarantee because these guys do not play by the rules. But it could be literally a last minute something. We're beginning to see a few break ranks in JP over these different issues. So let's have a look at the weather, because now it's spring. I'm still in New York, New York. It's been so great catching up with you guys in different places. Okay. Weather. Here we go. Weather in May. Well, I think this is about preparation. Could be preparation for the hurricane season or whatever. There is some preparation. There is some cooperation underway regarding weather. Right? But America, like Australia, like everywhere else, underprepares. Like every time there's a major flood or bushfire or something, you know, Australia always goes, well, we're going to be better prepared next time. And then next time comes and it hasn't changed. We're buying nuclear submarines with the US and the French, or not the French now, sorry, Macron, when we should be buying the Elvis helicopters that we have in Australia that dump water on the beginning of a bushfire and can save lives, etc., etc. That's what we should be spending money on. However, here we go. So this is some sort of cooperative effort in preparation, but it's not quite enough. So make sure you do your personal checks. May will be a watershed month for weather issues priming into the summer. This to me is all about warnings and choices. So we'll just wait for the siren. Oh, feels like I'm in New York, the sirens. Where I live in Australia, it's so quiet. My suburb, Touchwood, virtually has no crime. You know, you can leave really nice furniture out for years on end. We don't even shut the back door. So when we hear a siren, the joke is, oh, they're late for coffee. So I'm blessed from that point of view. But here I am in New York as we speak. So the weather. Preparations for summer will be going ahead, but there will be some sort of significant weather event that catches everybody unawares. So my advice to you guys is, if you're prone to flooding, fires, anything, make sure you've got batteries in those torches. Make sure you've got your pets sorted out for transport. Make sure you've got your photos and your legal documents safe and ready to go. Make sure the car's got petrol, spare water. Do all those things because we get very slack. It's easy to do. So I'm going to have a look at the economy in May before I love you and leave you. The economy. Yeah, that card's turned up again. Oh my goodness. Well, might be another here's that card I was talking about. It's interesting, isn't it, how they link from week to week, making deals about that. This could indicate they don't come to a solution, and this is the debt ceiling crisis still on board. Or alternatively, this could be another bank or two about to collapse. So be very careful about your money. After the Tower, there will be strategies to bring back support for people in the form of the Empress. So I think there will be something major financially in May. And despite it getting the Tower twice, the point of the Tower is often to point out the vulnerabilities, why you don't build on these sort of rocky outcrops. And I'd like to see the Dems, please, God, does anyone listen to this channel? Do more about making the case that it's the public that keeps bailing out the big capitalists. When do the capitalists bail out the public? Oh, no, we can't ask them to even pay tax, let alone anything more. I think we collectively are being reminded of this over and over until people get it. Right? America, like everywhere else, the wealth is private and the debt is public. I'll leave you with that thought. Okay. Massive love. And I'll see you before you know it. Bye.